Well, hey, Diet Disruptors. Carrie's here and Coach Deb. We are coming at you at another episode of Live with Disruptive
Uh-huh.
Nutrition. I'm excited. It's been a week. How are ya?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm actually really excited because you know what today is? Besides Monday.
Oh, it's like Monday. We talk about fat.
Okay, yes, we are talking about fat, and that is really fun. But today is day one of prep week for all of our people doing the 4 Weeks to Wellness Lifestyle Launch.
You are correct.
This day makes me so happy.
I like this day too.
People are so full of energy, and then everybody that's in the 4 Weeks to Wellness is also in our members only group.
Yes.
You can't join unless you have an invitation through the 4 Weeks to Wellness at the end. And so everybody in there has been in there. A lot of people have been in there for a really long time. And every time we have a new group starting, it like reinvigorates the whole group.
It does. It's like
everybody like,
because there's new people asking new questions and bringing their energy to it.
So I would love for all of you right now watching, even if you're watching it on the replay later, send some words of encouragement. You've got a whole group of people that are starting the 4 Weeks to Wellness. So it's a little like, oh my gosh. I think it's like there's fear and excitement. We call it nervous sighted in our house because I think it's exciting to know that I'm going to do something that I feel really, really confident about. I'm a little nervous because what is this really going to be like? Is this going to be hard? People say it's simple, but is it going to be simple? But I also have learned about myself. I have a fear of success. I do. I almost self-sabotage myself in a lot of ways. And we talk about self-sabotaging in our group a lot. But I think that there's some fear of like, what if, it's not about what if this doesn't work? Because I mean, I do think some people have that, but what if this works? How different can my life be? And is it really possible, right? For me to have that life
freedom. To think about the success of it because, if you've been a yo-yo dieter for so long, you find a hard time putting your faith into something else. And
if it works also, then a lot of excuses go out the window and a lot of self-hate, and a lot of us have only lived with that. And there's some fear there about that. So put some words of encouragement down. You can do this. We're excited for you. Prep week is a fun week because you're not really implementing yet. You're learning. You're kind of getting it in. A lot of people like to start implementing as they go, and they're a little bit here and there. But anyway, it is the start of prep week for so many people. We're going to do another group mid-September. I'm going to do that group. I'm going to join in and be a part of it. I like to do it every two times a year about. Is that how much you do it too?
Yeah, usually 2 times a year. But it depends. It shifts from when I do it just based on like how I'm feeling at that point in time. Because sometimes you feel like you just need a reset.
Yep. And what I love is that everybody that has done the 4 Weeks to Wellness in 2020 had access to our learning portal.
Yes.
And they always keep it. Yeah. So even if they don't stay on as members, they still can keep the learning portal. So they can go back and do it themselves. Now, I cannot do it all by myself. I need our membership group. I need them to know that I'm doing it. I need them to hold me accountable. And like, I'll bring you on as my coach, for example, and I'm going to make you check in with me to make sure I'm doing it because I need that. And if I need that, I know a lot of people do too. But I love that our members can all do the 4 Weeks to Wellness as many times as they want and never have to pay for it again. That's so important, So, all right. So today we are going to talk about fat. And just like you are my friend, fat is my friend.
That is your friend.
And we were both kids in the 80s where fat was like
vilified. I mean, we both like fat-free households. It was like fat-free cheese and fat-free butter and fat-free this and fat-free that. It's interesting because even like now, my parents tend to hold on to those ideas about fat.
It's hard. And you know what's so interesting is that, well, science is often like all screwed up, right? Yes. But like we believed that heart disease was because people were having too much fat.
Yes.
But what we're going to talk about that is our body, like every cell in our body, every cell membrane is made up of fat. And if we don't give our body an essential macronutrient, there's proteins, fats, and carbs. If we don't, those are macronutrients. This isn't trendy, you guys.
No,
this is tried and true science.
Yeah.
3 macronutrients. When we give our body fat, then it can say, like, basically it stores fat for a variety of reasons, but it won't have to store it if it knows it's going to get it because it needs it. A macronutrient means it's something that we need. And if we give it to our bodies, it's amazing what happens when we're giving it what it needs.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like, we always talk about, like, when we eat the way that we eat, and we eat in threes, and we're eating, you know, every couple hours, your body takes what it needs and then lets go of what it doesn't. And that's a really important thing to remember. And it's the same thing, you know, with any of the macronutrients. But this one, I think, is one of the most misunderstood macronutrients. And, you know, our good friend, Dr. Mark Hyman, he, you know, writes books about how you need to have fat and how fat shouldn't have been vilified and how the, you know, the science got it wrong. So, you know, and he's a well-respected.
Yeah. I mean, really, so fat really truly is our friend. But what we need to do today is really understand it. And just like last week, we talked about protein, and we talked about how important protein was, and how some people get stressed when they realize, oh my gosh, there's complete and incomplete protein. Oh my gosh, that's confusing. I'm like, I don't know how to, like, if we combine incomplete proteins, we can make them complete, but that's still not as good as a complete protein. That's confusing. I'm like, get over it. It's okay, because now you know. And if you don't totally understand, you can dig in. But it's better than living a life of ignorance and thinking that if I'm avoiding fat, it's okay. Or like in keto, when we have high protein, high fat, what that's actually doing to us, right? We need the right amount of the right fat in the right portions in the right frequency. Even if I drank, like we talk about water all the time, right? We really want to have the right amount of water, 64 to 96 ounces of water. And I have people, we could easily, if you drank 250 ounces of water a day, it's too much. Yeah. You can have high fat and it's going to be too much. Yeah. There's always a tipping point, right? Always a tipping point. All good things still can be too much. Too much of a good thing, no longer a good thing, right? So what we need to do is we're going to first talk about why fat is our friend, what it does for us, why we need it. And then let's talk about some, like, what are good fats that we can be, because it's a little less confusing, I think, than protein, but because when you read fat on a label, it's fat. You know how, like, we talked last week when we said, if you see protein on a label, it might not be the protein. You might not count that protein because it's not a complete protein. If you read fat on a label, it's fat. Now, we know that there's trans fats and unsaturated fats and saturated fat and all sorts of types. We're not going to get into that right now. You just count the fat as fat. But we will share with you what are better fats, good fats that your body really wants, as opposed to, you know, fat that isn't really going to serve your body, right? So let's start. One thing that I think is interesting is that fat slows down our digestion. But I never really knew before I, you know, got into all of this work, why that would even be important. Yeah. So do you want to help us with this at all?
Yeah. So when your body metabolizes foods in different places, and we talked a little bit about that last week. And then we talk about, like, what actually happens in your digestive system, like what's actually going on in there. And by slowing down the digestion, it actually like slows down the pace at which your body is intaking the macronutrients, using the macronutrients. And by slowing it down, it's basically keeping you feeling fuller longer. And so you can go for the 3 to 4 hours. That's why we always say, like, 3 to 4 hours, depending on hunger. That's why you can go those 3 to 4 hours, because the fat is helping to slow down that digestion and the rate at which your body is metabolizing and using food.
Yeah, we want that. There's actually a word that's a really hard word. I wrote it down because it's hard for me to say. Yeah. Cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin. It's a really hard word. Okay. Yeah. But that is a chemical that is released to our brain telling us that we are full.
Right.
There's nothing worse than feeling hungry. We talk about this all the time. Is it true hunger or not true hunger, right? We need true hunger so that, because true hunger is actually informing us that our blood sugar is low. Correct. But if we don't have that chemical released in our brain, we can feel hungry, but we're really not. And we can overeat and our blood sugar can spike, but we won't even realize it because we think we're hungry and we're really not. Right. We need that chemical to be released. Fat releases that chemical.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And that's important. I mean, that's important too. And that's why we always, think about, okay, well, if you feel like you're hungry, maybe you want to drink some water first, because it really could just be something else. And one of the things, like our friends who are starting the challenge today are going to understand, like, when your body is truly hungry and when you're just not.
Oh, I love the amount of learning about yourself, both emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically that you get by doing the 4 weeks.
Yeah, you get completely in tune with your body, and like, nope, this is real hunger right now. I need to eat.
And our mindsets. Sometimes it's boredom.
Yeah.
And we really analyze that.
So
eating fat also caused us, this is so funny when we talk about fat, you need fat to burn fat.
I know. I was like flabbergasted the first time.
I know. I'm looking down because I wrote a bunch of notes to make sure I don't miss anything. But let's think about this. If fat is a macronutrient, right? And we're giving it to our body in the right portions, in the right frequency, all that, and your body recognizes that macronutrient is going to be consumed at a regular time, then it will start to release stored fat it doesn't need. If you are inconsistent with your body and giving it what it needs, it's going to hold on to the things that it needs or that it thinks it needs because it doesn't trust you.
Right.
It doesn't trust that you're going to give it to them. Your body needs fat. You take it away, it's going to store fat. That's why low fat made people fat.
Exactly. Well, and also that they were eating more carbohydrates at that point in time too, and we all know what carbs do. So.
And a lot of those, this is another crazy thing, low fat, in order to make it taste good, they had to add a lot of chemicals to it.
Yeah.
In order to do that, then we introduce toxins in our body. And do you know what our body produces to protect ourselves from toxins?
Fat cells.
Fat cells. Yeah. So eat full fat stuff. Yeah. Don't eat the low fat stuff.
No.
Don't introduce those toxins.
Right.
And we want to be eating good fat because our body needs fat. Our cells are cushioned in fat, right? Our body needs that fat. We're going to go into more reasons why it needs it. But if your body knows it's going to get it on a regular basis and it trusts you, then it's going to let go of that stored fat that it's been like a squirrel, hiding away nuts for the winter. It can be like, look, I've got all what I need. I can get rid of these extra nuts.
Well, because like you mentioned at the beginning of our call that, your body, every cell in your body needs fat. So if every cell in your body needs this macronutrient in order to be efficient and run effectively, you need to be putting fat into your body on a regular basis. And, you talked also about we talk about healthy fats, right? So certain types of oils and things like that we go more towards than other ones.
Yeah.
And so that's important too, to be thinking about, like we always think about quality of ingredients. It's important to think about the quality and the type of fat that you're using also. So.
Yeah, if you're doing like canola oil or vegetable oil, you guys, that's just chemicals. There's nothing in there that is toxin. So not only is it bad fat, your body is not going to recognize it as the fat that it needs. So it will like say, warning, invader, I don't know what this is. We're going to put this over here. I can't use it for anything. So I'm going to go put this over here, especially if you've been yo-yo dieting and your metabolism is slow. It's just like, I'm going to put this over here and I see toxins coming in. So I'm going to add some extra fat cells to protect myself from that.
Yeah.
So just get rid of all canola oil and vegetable oil. Replace it with avocado oil, olive oil, grapeseed oil. What?
Coconut oil.
Coconut oil. Thank you. Easy swap, you guys. Super easy swap. But some other good fats. Avocado.
Avocados.
I mean, we love those avocado smashes at Costco, right?
Well, those are the best. Yeah.
Because they're like good portion, all that. But nut butters. I don't love peanut butter as much because peanuts are really dirty. But like other nut butters, if you throw almond butter, a little almond butter in your shake, or almond butter on a cracker, it tastes so much like peanut butter to me. Dressings, I love making myself good dressings with some olive oil in it, or you know, different kinds of oil in there.
And also Primal Kitchen has a really good line of, you know, clean ingredient dressings.
Yes.
Most of those are based with avocado oil. So
yeah.
Really good. And then just we don't nuts themselves.
Nuts. Yeah. And we don't need a lot of fat every time we eat. But and I think that is one thing that when we are coaching people in our 4 weeks to wellness, some people will get their balance off and have too much, because again, too much of a good thing. So getting that balance is important. One of the reasons why we really want people to be working with us, so we can help you figure out what that is. But also think about this. There's fat soluble vitamins are in our body. And so vitamin A, D, E, and K, right? And so in order for those essential vitamins to fill us with the nutrients it needs fat to trigger it. Right? It's like fat soluble. Boom, you need fat to trigger it. It's like my kids have been tie-dyeing. It's sort of been their thing. And they have these little containers with this powder in it, and they have to add water to activate the tie-dye stuff. It's sort of like we need fat to activate those vitamins to work for us, right?
Yeah, because otherwise your body can't use those particular vitamins if you're not introducing fat.
Right. So if you are taking a multivitamin and thinking you're doing right for yourself, but you're not doing you're giving yourself the fat, which is going to activate that, right? But it also provides essential fatty acids.
Yes.
We hate the word fat, but it's really, we need to reestablish that word.
Because I think when people think of a fat, they think that a fat is going to make them fat.
Yeah. It's actually going to do the opposite. Exactly. And the fatty acids in our body are what gives us our nice nails and skin and hair. And so what's so interesting is how many people on the 4 weeks to wellness tell us, oh my gosh, this is part of what you feel better. This is why like progress should not just be on the scale, because what we're doing is long-term health. Exactly. And you can start to measure so many ways that you are getting healthy. And one of them is in your nails, your hair, and your skin. I love that. It's why you can just get that scale so far away. I've shown pictures before of a woman, of like 6 different women at 146 pounds, and they all look completely different. Or I showed a picture. Last month, I think it was, a picture of somebody that lost 2 pounds. But clearly got super lean and strong. And I'm like, I would take that in a second, right?
Exactly.
Progress in the scale is going to throw off everything, but there's so many more ways that you can measure progress. Right? What you can do, the things that you can do for your body, things like that. So I'm wondering what questions you guys have about this. I think that the concepts of fat, I'm just looking through my notes to see if there's anything else. There is a lot of confusion about cholesterol. If you're eating good fats, that has been debunked. The health heart issue has to do with the fact that a lot of people are overeating crappy food.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we just say it's fat, it's bacon, we are doing ourselves such a disservice. Truly, 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 right? So be aware, be thoughtful about what types of fat that you're taking in. You want to introduce the fats that your body is going to like and is literally going to do something with, be able to benefit from. Otherwise, now, it's not to say I never have like a Milky Way.
No, I mean, occasionally you do, but it's this whole thing about, you know, everything in moderation. I mean, we need fat, but we're not going to overdo it on the fat. Which I think is why, you know, when people do keto, it's very hard for them to they're like, oh, well, I just have been eating fat for all this time. And it's too much, because it reprograms your body to metabolize food in a completely different way. And that's just not something that we want to do. So
we really don't. That's not what we want to do.
No.
So fat is your friend. And so like we talked about the 4 weeks to wellness, we are not running one right now. We will run one in September. So if you're interested in looking at that, go to 4 weeks to wellness, 4w2w.com and go look at that. If you sign up early, if you sign up now, actually, you get your choice of all the coaches.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty cool. But for those of you that decided, okay, I'm just not ready, or, you know, this isn't something I can do right now, the 4 weeks to wellness, we do have our PFC Every 3 online course. So it's a mini course. Again, 24 years as an educator. I have written over 20 online courses in the last 7 years of my career.
Yep. Follow. It's laid out nicely.
It is. There's videos. It's really, there's tons of printables. It will give you exactly what you need to be able to implement this. It's at a lower price point. Yes, you don't have a coach and things like that. So if that's really important, the 4 weeks to wellness and an accountability team and all of that. But I will say our 4 weeks to wellness is the only way that people can get into the membership group.
Right.
But we are, as a bonus, allowing people an invite to the membership group if you do the PFC course. Otherwise, you can't get in. It's like a secret society.
Right.
And you can't get in unless you've been, because we've had it open before, but we realized people didn't really understand, and they were in the group and they didn't get as much out of it. And I didn't want people to have this like preconceived notion that they would be able to understand all of it if they didn't go through the 4 weeks to wellness.
Right.
Well, with the PFC course, you are learning a lot about how to eat PFC, even though you're not living the 4 weeks of really the detox and clean eating.
Yeah.
And I do think you know enough to be able to really get a lot out of the membership group. So we will give you a invite to the membership group if you want to take us up on that. But secret code time. Those of you that watched our entire episode and you want to join the PFC course this week, if you message me or Deb with the secret code, FAT is my friend.
Okay.
If you say that to us, you can message us over in, Facebook Messenger land. That is my friend. I'm going to give you, in addition to the course, the 101 PFC meal ideas.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that's usually like $19. And I'm going to give you that for free. If you've already bought that, I will give you a month of our recipes from our recipe subscription.
Ooh, that's good too.
Either one you can have. But you got, so if you've already gotten the 101, I'll give you the most recent recipe subscription, which is very good. Yeah. So FAT is my friend. If you're going to join the PFC course and you watch this, go do that. It's disruptyournutrition.com/PFC course. What else, Deb? That's it?
I think that's it. Just remember, FAT is your friend.
It is. I think I might go have some olives.
I know. Ooh, olives are a good fat.
I know, I love olives. So my favorite right now is like some olives. Like I like those, what are those purple olives?
I eat
Kalamata.
Kalamata.
Yeah, Kalamata.
Kalamata. Those are my favorite olives.
Oh my gosh, I love them so much. And sometimes I'll have the thin stackers with some smoked salmon.
Ooh, and the olives.
And olives and a little bit of like lemon juice.
That's good.
All good PFC stuff there. Yeah.
I like putting Kalamata olives on my cauliflower pizza crust.
Oh, I love olives on pizza.
Yep,
so good. So smart.
No yeast on there. It's good stuff.
Yeah, that's great. That's huge. That's awesome. What a good PFC. All right. So I hope you guys enjoy this. We will see you next week where we are going to talk about, what are we talking about? Carbs. Yay, carbs. Thanks, Deb. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.